Hi, my name is Derek. I'm from Digisplint. I build custom finger splints for long-term finger disabilities. I've been doing this for 17, 18 years. Local therapists in the area were wondering if I could build a custom splint for somebody that needs to wear it every day for the rest of their lives. Now, what's unique about the splints that I build is that they're made of silver. All right, they're not thermoplast, they're not plastics, they don't look like splints at all. And I'm going to be talking to you today about the swan neck splint, or the anti-swan neck splint, which is an ideal splint for Ehlers-Danlos. Ehlers-Danlos is an issue, right, with hypermobility. We have individuals here who've contacted me saying, you know, I need a splint, blah, blah, blah. But there's really not a lot of support or knowledge in Canada. There's the association barely exists for ED. Ehlers-Danlos is a condition of hypermobility throughout the whole body. All right, and what I do is I focus on the hands and the fingers, and the splints that I build are to stop hypermobility, all right, to stop the hyperextension. I can basically, this is about as far as I can extend my fingers. Someone with Ehlers-Danlos can bring them way back. They can sometimes touch their wrists. It gets to be an issue because when we hyperextend, we can lock. It's very painful, and it's difficult for people to even function who have Ehlers-Danlos. So in Canada here, I can help, all right? Now I work with the fingers, like I had said. I work with any of the IP joints, all right, plus the MCP of the thumb. But an IP joint is an interphalangeal joint, all right. It involves the proximal interphalangeal joint, or the PIP. There's the DIP, the distal interphalangeal joint. I work with the IP of the thumb. We can also stop it from hyperextending, as well as the MCP, and I'll show you the MCP splint in a little bit. So for hypermobility, if we can apply 3 basic pressure points, all right, again, this is to stop the hypermobility, but if we can apply pressure between, say, the MCP joint and the PIP joint, right in the middle there, and again between the PIP and the DIP joint, right there, and as well as right under the joint, we can still allow your finger to fully flex, all right, but as you extend, we can stop the hyperextension of that. And by doing that, I use what we call an anti-swan neck splint, or a swan neck splint, or hypermobility splint. There's many different names for it. I build them right here in my shop. Welcome to my shop. And basically what we do is we have a measuring system where we measure the size of the ring that we need, proximal, distal, all right, and we come up with our sizes. And when you put this guy on, again, it allows you to fully flex like that, but it stops hyperextension. Hyperextension is anything that's past neutral. Neutral is straight. All right, straight is a good position to be in, but with a sensitive joint or a hypermobile joint, a little bit of flexion, slight flexion is good, say perhaps at 5 degrees. All right, and that's exactly what this splint does, and it doesn't look like a splint, and that's where we're unique. Because it doesn't look like a splint, you can wear these every day, you could be functional, and people are going to say, hey, cool rings. In fact, high school kids love these things. I don't know of high school kids who have them without a condition of sorts, because I do prefer to have some sort of reference from a physician, or from a therapist, occupational therapist, or physiotherapist. Now, there are a few things I can do to, say, improve if we have more than just hypermobility. Say we have to force a finger into position. Sometimes it can dig in on the top or the dorsal side. So what I can do is I can increase the surface area of that, all right, to make them more comfortable. And by doing that, I add a plate of silver. This here is a standard splint, all right, and this here is a splint with a pressure plate on it. Now I can do that on the proximal ring, on the distal ring, or on both as needed, if needed. All right, again, all these little things are options. They're going to cost a little bit more. The other thing I can do too is I can add lateral supports. Now these are lateral bars, and that's for laxity for joints that are going side to side. All right, so basically what we do is we slip this guy on again. We've got the pressure plates to stop it from digging in if necessary, as well as the lateral supports for laxity. Very comfortable to use. We have clients right across Canada. Again, I've been doing this for what, 17 or 18 years. We've built thousands of these. I work with occupational therapists and physiotherapists across the country, rheumatologists, work with different arthritis societies. We're a provider for workers' compensation. These splints are covered by benefits or private insurance companies under orthopedic splints, but along with that you would have to supply a doctor's note or a prescription from the doctor for them. Alright, one of the big things is, like when I've been building these, and I said I've built thousands, and again I've been doing this a long time, so 1,000 sounds like a lot, but you count that over a period of time, it's a couple per day, alright, or several per day. But the thing is, everybody who uses them loves them. Big reason is compliance. Therapists love these because clients are actually using them, because they don't look like splints. Also, therapists love these because they don't have to build one out of thermoplastic, knowing it's going to be sitting on a shelf somewhere and that's going to break or anything like that. I build them out of silver. Silver is very malleable, soft. All right, if say it's a hot end of July day where it's really muggy, your fingers are a little bit thicker, you can take the rings, you can squeeze them closer together. That's the nice thing about silver, because you can do that. By squeezing them closer together, you loosen the fit. Alright, but say it's a January day or a February day where it's cold and they're loose, because we tend to thin up a little bit when it's cold, you could take the rings and you can spread them apart. So they're malleable, they're adjustable, they don't look terrible. And again, clients, it's funny, I keep hearing about little clubs. People recognize and say, hey, is that a Digisplint? If you choose to go with something like this, welcome to the club. Again, if you do have benefits or insurance, they are covered. All right, but you do need the doctor's prescription. Are they expensive? That's relative. So you don't have coverage, like myself, I'm self-employed, I don't have any benefits or insurance or anything like that. They're not cheap. I'm not going to beat around the bush that way. All right, but on the other hand, they cost less, or a splint will cost less than an evening out to dinner or a movie or something like that, or it's going to cost me less than getting my teeth cleaned at the dentist office. But the other thing is, the benefits from it is that they last for years and years and years. All right, so that's something else to consider and think about. One of the reasons, and I did want to address this a little bit. People want to know, why does nobody know about this? I've been working with occupational therapy, physiotherapy, rheumatology right across Canada for quite a long time now. Actually, if you talk to your therapist, it's likely they'll say, oh yeah, I've heard about those, or you'll talk to a therapist that uses them and they'll recommend them. And that's basically why a lot of people don't know about it, because I focus so much working with therapy departments. I've never really marketed to end users, people who know who could actually use this. I've always left it up to the therapist to do the assessment and say, hey, you really should have these things. So if you haven't gone to a doctor or a therapist, doctors don't know too much about these either, but if you haven't gone to a therapist, then for the condition for hypermobility or for hyperextension, then it's likely that you haven't heard about these. And the other thing is that, and I say this with a little bit of jest, but my marketing skills really do suck. Now, I did talk a little bit about the swan neck splint, as well as the swan neck splint with the pressure plates and the lateral supports. I also work with the thumb. All right, you can use that same splint on the IP joint of the thumb. It'll stop hyperextension of the IP, but the MCP is always critical. It's an issue. We create fatigue, there's joint wear when we get into hyperextension and such. And we do have a splint for that as well, and this is called the thumb MCP splint. Basically, it comes with a bracelet, and that's so we can anchor it in place. But with the thumb MCP, again, if we can apply some pressure just proximal of the IP joint, all right, and before you come to the the CMC joint back here, and right underneath the joint, again, we can stop hyperextension. But we don't really have anything to anchor it in place, and that's why we use this type of an expansion bracelet. So basically, slipping your hand through, the bracelet holds the splint in place, and again, that's as far as I can go if I'm hitchhiking or if I want to do something functional. All right, and it's very effective that way as well. I work here in Canada. Strictly in North America, Canada is my place. Now we do have splints that we've sent off to the Falkland Islands. We have some I've done some in Spain, Bahamas. There's a physician out there that has worked with me as well. In Europe, I think in Hungary, there's some of the splints have worked their way out there. Part of the reason that I focus here in Canada, again, is because of the custom nature. We have to know, we have to measure basically what the proximal ring is going to be, what the distal ring is going to be, and when we deal with shipping and that type of thing, it can be an expensive process. In the United States, sorry, again, I don't distribute in the United States, but there's a company down there called Patterson Medical. They're a distribution company that if you work with an occupational therapist or physiotherapist, don't know about them. They have a splint called a V-splint, very similar to this, but again, you would have to talk to your therapist to make contact with Patterson Medical. So now, if you want some more information about the swan neck splints or the anti-swan neck, lateral supports, pressure plates, thumb MCP, anything to do with hypermobility, you can you can visit our website at www.digisplint.ca. You can give us a call. We have a toll-free number, 888-775-4687. Or you can visit your therapist too, or call your therapist and ask them. It's occupational therapy, physiotherapy. All right. If they haven't heard of us or if they don't know about it, we'd be happy to send off a measuring kit to them, as well as an information kit about all of the splints that we build. Now the measuring kit, again, that's complimentary. That's just something we would like the therapist to have so that they can do the assessment and the measuring everything properly. And they can order the splint for you. The other thing is that we do have people who have traveled to Exeter, Ontario here, from coast to coast. I've had people fly in from Vancouver, from Halifax. We've had people drive up from Quebec. And again, probably maybe in my office or in my workshop right here, I might see one client out of maybe 20 orders that actually come through. So that is a possibility. Like if you're within 200 kilometers of Exeter, Exeter is about a half an hour north of London, so we're in southwest Ontario. So if you're like within a couple of hour drive, I consider you local. All right, so, and that being the case, then yeah, you can come and see me and sit with me, make an appointment. Very important, because I like to spend as much time, quality time as I can, just with each individual client. But you can come and see me, sit with me in my workshop. We can build you a splint or a number of splints as needed, and you can leave with them the same day. So that is an option. But usually for people within driving distance, in extreme cases, like for unique situations for professionals, say in the music industry, or we've had surgeons, different things like that, who come and see me directly, who can fly in as well, either fly into London or Toronto and then drive up. So that option's there for you as well. Our toll-free number is 888-775-4687. You could also send me an email. Again, my name is Derek. It's D-E-R-E-K @digisplint.ca. I would love to be able to help you. This is why I exist. I love helping people. I love coming to work every day. I get to be a hero because I see the function, I see how well it works, and I know for a fact that if you give me the chance, I think I can help you too.